Hey everyone, welcome to Pinkoween video 5. Today this design is called Basic Witch, and we're going to just create a lot of petals is what I'm envisioning. So in order to get started, when you want to create with us for Pinkoween, you want to gather some colors. So we're using dark and light pink, dark and light orange, and then I always have black and white available for accent colors. And Pinkoween is just a way for us to play with a color palette. In the stores, you'll notice that pink is very on trend for Halloween. So I thought I'd give it a go this year. So I'm creating 15 Pinkoween videos with different designs every other day. So that's what Pinkoween is. I've got my color palette here. I am creating on a 4.5-inch stone today, painted black. And I've got a stencil with a base of 8. This one's got 16 arms. And you can, of course, change the design or change the colors however you want to. But let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to start with a 10mm center, and I'm going to use pink, dark pink, 10mm. I'm going to get a 1.5mm stylus. And then I'm going to create 16 dots around in a ring around the center, 1.5mm in dark orange. Then I'm going to switch to 2mm. I'm going to do light pink. These dots are going to go in the spaces in between, so it's an offset row. Then I'm going to switch to 3mm. I'm going to do one more offset row with light orange. So these are going on the lines. 3mm light orange. I was really generous with my spacing, but this takes me out to my first row, or my first ring on the stencil. All right, I'm going to grab a 5mm tool and I'm going to use a light pink. I'm going to place a dot on every other line. So 5mm, light pink, 8 dots. I'm going to grab a 2mm tool. We're going to walk the dots and create some petals. So I'm going to get my dark orange 2mm tool. My center dots are going to be 2mm, so I'm going to do all of those first. And then I'm going to walk the dots with my 1.5mm stylus. I'm going to walk the dots with the same color. Oh, that one's so big. Sometimes I swear these have a mind of their own. All right, 1.5mm. Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. All right, next I'm going to get the light orange 3mm tool. I'm going to add another layer to this petal. Just going to walk the dots, so 3mm center. And then I'm going to go to my 2mm tool to walk the dots on each side. So 3mm center, 2mm walking the dots. I'm going to do both sides, but I tend to do one side first and then do the other. Right. While I have my 2mm tool out, I'm going to get my light pink. I'm going to place a dot in between each of these petals. So this ends up being every other line in between the petal. Next, I'm going to get my 6mm tool. We're going to use dark pink. I'm going to place a dot in between the petals, just in between the petal ends. I kind of want it to be centered about where the previous ring ends. Of course, your placement doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. We're going to do 8 6mm dots with our dark pink. Then we're going to walk the dots again. I'm going to start with dark orange. We're going to do 3 layers to this walking the dots. 2mm stylus for our center dot. Then 1.5mm, and I'm going to walk the dots on each side. For the next layer, 3mm center dots in light orange. Sorry, I got barky dogs. All right, then 2mm, we're going to walk the dots. I'm going to do one more layer of petal. I'm going to go back to my dark orange 3mm tool, center dot in 3mm. That brings me to the ring on my stencil. It's okay if we're kind of working closer or wider apart than each other. Or if we're just using a different stencil, that's fine too. But 3mm. And then I'm going to get a 2.5mm stylus and walk the dots on each side. Next, I'm going to get my 8mm tool. I'm going to go back to, actually, you know what? No. I'm going to get my 4mm tool, dark pink. I'm going to put a dark pink dot in between each of those petals. All right, and now I'm going to go with my 8mm tool and a light pink. And right next to those dark pink dots, I'm going to add an 8mm dot. So we're going to end up with 8 of those. Get some a little smudge. Smudgy smudge. All right, we're going back to petals. That's why this design is called Basic Witch, because it's very, very basic. Lots of dots and petals, but I really like it. All right, we are going to start with 2.5mm, light orange centers. And I'm going to walk the dots in 2mm. All right, dark orange. 3mm centers. We're going to walk the dots. This time I'm going to do a crown of 3. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm going to walk the dots on one side, walk the dots on the other side, and then the top dot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I do this, you can see I'm not starting in the middle. I'm starting on each side and then adding my little dot in the center. And there you have it, my friends. This is the basic wit design. I would love to see what you create. If you dotted along with me, share on social media and go ahead and tag me in that post. I would love to see it. Thank you for joining me for Pinkoween, and I'll have another video. Gosh, I can't talk today. I'll have another video coming out soon, so go ahead and like my YouTube page, subscribe, and you will be notified when my next video goes live. Pinkoween, we're doing 15 orange and pink themed mandalas this month, so make sure you follow along, and I'll see you next time, everyone.